All right, hey everybody, what is up? Stuart Anderson here, Crown Council live stream. This is our weekly broadcast, part of our awesome community of Crown Council teams, resource partners, team members, doctors, all across the United States and Canada. We do this weekly broadcast where we check in, hear some of the great stories, and spend just a few minutes together so it feels like you are connected to a community, a group, which this most certainly is. We hope you feel like you never practice alone, that we are here to serve, to help, and connect you with some of the very best in dentistry. So thanks for joining us today. I've got a couple recorded guests. As you know, it's probably pretty difficult to join live here as a dentist, as a team member. So grateful to have a couple guests who recorded with me. I also want to do a few housekeeping items. I'm going to share my screen real quick. You are looking at the crowncouncil.com website. This is just our homepage. And I wanted to just go over a few things very quick, especially at the start of the new year. If you log in and go to my directory, everybody's directory looks just a little different. But in this directory, you'll see what we call hubs. And each hub is added to your directory depending on what you're participating in or doing. But as a premium member, you will see here at the top the premium member hub that you'll want to view. And as you go through the premium member hub, there are a few things that I want to make sure that you have access to. One, request a 2026 fee report. This is the best place to do it, although a lot of doctors ask for this on the email network. This is where you need to submit officially for a fee report for your office. There's also some incredible training on how to understand your fee report from Steve and Pam, and highly recommend watching that and then connecting with the TOPS coach if you have further questions about what to do with the report once you get it. So that is part of being a Crown Council Premium member. Everyone has access to this software. You just have to request it. Next, I wanted to talk about our skill of the week. Once a week, Steve and I upload a brand new skill. We've done this. There's a gigantic skill of the week library, which you can see here, that stretches back for years. And you are obviously more than welcome to watch that. But every week, we record a new skill of the week, which has both an exercise and things that you can do, an action item that you can do as a team once you watch the video. So this one's just 2 minutes. I'm going to play it. We can watch it together. This is one of our most used products for premium members. Very easy to use, especially if you are looking for a way to train your team, train your culture, and do so quickly and effectively. So let's watch this one. All right, hey everybody, welcome to the skill of the week.
I can't do the skill of the week right now.
Oh, that's okay. How about we just do it tomorrow, Steve?
I can't do it tomorrow either.
Okay. Let me look at my calendar. How about next week?
I can't do next week.
Oh, okay. Well, what can you do?
Frustrated yet?
Yeah, very frustrating.
Welcome to the skill of the week. Here's the total patient service skill. Tell me, the patient, what you can do, not what you can't.
So, Steve, instead of telling me you can't get the lab work back in a week, what would you say?
I would say, in order to give the lab enough time to do a quality job on your crown, we can schedule your next appointment a week from Thursday.
Nice.
That's what we can do.
Okay. All right. So what about, instead of telling me you can't get me in any sooner, what would you say?
So if we have an earlier appointment time that becomes available, may I call you to see if the time works for you?
Nice.
What I can do.
All right. What would you say if I asked you to write off my patient portion like my previous dentist did?
The crook? No. I would say, in order to be fair to all of our patients, we always abide by the insurance company contractual rules that we agreed to and that your policy calls for.
Nice. All right. So tell me what you can do. Don't tell me what you can't.
That's the secret. Can, not can't. Always tell me what you can do. Don't tell me what you can't. Further the conversation by showing me the way forward. Tell me what you can do. Now you can go master the skill.
All right, very fun. They're like that. Every week we post them. You can see them in the library. We also send them out in the weekly email update. So if you are a team member watching us here on the live stream, the weekly email update comes to you if you have created an account on crowncouncil.com. Then you will be notified about all the new material and training that is uploaded week to week. So enjoy the skill of the week. Watch it as a team. Make it part of your culture. Sometimes we're training how you should act, what you should do, and also what you should be, how you can be a better team member, a better servant of your patients. So highly recommend that as a team, that you work that into your culture. Beyond that, I'm going to share my screen one more time. Making that part of your week-to-week activity also allows you to work on being a qualified member. So if you scroll down into our little hub here, the qualified member program is 30 years of ours, of watching the very best dental teams and what those dental teams do, and then breaking it down into what we call being a qualified member. There's a little list of things that need to be done over a year. And those items are what we have seen, what we've studied, that the very best dental teams do to not only financial plan. Do you have a plan for doing good as a team? So you're going to work through those things, finding patient feedback. You can see over here on the left, team member feedback. Do you have a recognition plan? And then you're going to work through all of those things. And then the beauty of this is at the Crown Council annual event, our qualified members are recognized with a beautiful plaque, a beautiful award that you can then hang in your office to show your patients and potential customers, patients, that you are a qualified member of the Crown Council. So this is the best time to start working on being a qualified member. All Crown Council offices should be doing this, teams and doctors, and we are here to help you do it. So if you have any questions, you can text us on any page of the crowncouncil.com website, and we will connect with you on how to become a qualified member and help you through the steps. All right, very good. Let me check my notes here. Okay, I've got a video. I introduced Dr. Pedro Lam, a new doctor, to our Crown Council's Young Dentist program. A very fun story, and I can't remember if in this interview we talk about it, but he signed up for the Young Dentist program. Then he said to me, I want to bring my team to the annual event, which I said, absolutely, we would love to have them. So he brought 4 team members. And a week before the annual event, he said, Stuart, is this going to be worth it for me to bring my team to the annual event? I mean, it's obviously a considerable financial commitment. And I said to him, this is the best dental meeting that you can take your team to. And I interviewed him after because I wanted to get his own thoughts and feelings about it. So I'm just going to play it's a short little interview we did together. Dr. Pedro Lam.
First, name is Dr. Pedro Lam. I practice in Great Falls, Virginia. I'm a newer owner, just became an owner about 3 years ago. And I came into Crown Council actually for the Young Dentist program first. I was really interested in learning more from Dr. Hornbrook and heard a lot about that specific course. And then it was just an added bonus to actually experience the Crown Council annual event. It really was just a surprise, almost like a party where my team and myself, it was just like a really fun experience. It was very open and supportive every step of the way. I thought the speakers, I at first had no idea who they were, but their stories are captivating, tear jerking. And we kind of came back to the office with a really big focus on our why and the joy behind that why. Cool. I think that's the biggest thing, at least for me, in terms of a team aspect. But from a younger owner, I had a lot more to gain from this because I spent a lot of my weekend talking to owner doctors, actually, like ones that are much
Mhm.
further along their journey. And, they all said like, hey, you're already doing such a great job bringing your young team here, and just kind of investing in them. And they feel that investment as well. But also hearing their stories of how they navigated, COVID, the business life, and how they were able to get their practice to the levels they were. Like those little breakout sessions were really fun. So
Cool.
um, that's kind of in a nutshell what I felt of the annual event.
That's awesome. How did just one last question. How did you guys decide? I mean, you kind of took a leap, right, to come. Um, how did you decide to come? Were you just like, let's just try it. Let's just see what it's like? I mean, you didn't bring your whole team? I've been on your website looking. I mean, how did you decide how to come and how did you make that work?
Yeah. So it's always been in my head to like bring my team to something like this. There was a few that we were looking at, like Clinical Masteries, which I finished their continuum
Mm,
last year. They had a team building event where I knew it's just very powerful to have my team witness other teams doing things, right? Whether it's togetherness or discussing about protocols and systems. I knew the value behind that. And so I've always been interested in doing something like this. So when the opportunity arose, I just kind of jumped on it. And it was a leap of faith, right? And none
Yeah.
of us really went to Utah before, and I just felt like it was a really well supported event. The fact that you guys had all this history, and obviously you, Stuart, you're kind of just really good at putting things together. It's such a well organized event. I was blown away. Yeah.
Cool. I was really you sent me a text the week before that was like, "Man, I hope this is worth it." And I'm like, "Oh man."
Yeah, I
All
know.
I can tell you is it will be, but I was like, "Oh no, he's having doubts. It's not gonna be."
Yeah, I know. Well, I guess the main thing that was shocking because the tickets were worth it, but it's like the flights were like astronomical. I didn't know it like co-aligned with the whole filming festival thing. I think that's why
Oh,
tickets were like just a lot more than I thought. Like we were actually waiting to the last minute, like, oh, will they ever come down? Will they come down? And they just like kept
yeah.
going up and up instead. So it was an investment, but we kind of know who also the team members we really can feel their commitment now. It wasn't just like hey, we sometimes with private practices like, man, I don't know who to bring, right? Who's going to be with me long term, especially in today's environment. But I think this almost like doubles down in their commitment with the practice and the culture, and now they can like be part of the framework as we create new systems. So it was really cool to see. Yeah.
Nice. All right. That's it. All right, very cool. We're gonna have Dr. Lamb with us two more times this summer as part of the Young Dentist program. Obviously, he's signed up to be part of the Nashville annual event in 2027 and to bring his team. So super grateful for new, enthusiastic Crown Council members who are part of this community and part of everything that we do. Very fun to connect with him and see him drawn to the Crown Council and all of the tools and people that he met. Just grateful for him and thankful that we could be part of that. I'll share my screen one more time, real quick. Uh, we are signing up people right now, obviously, for the 2027 annual event. It's super easy to do, and we're going to be updating on crowncouncil.com. If you go up here and click on annual event, we are going to start building and putting on this web page all of the information about being part of next year's annual event. So this is where you'll find it. Register to attend, dates, hotel rooms at the Nashville Omni, and then frequently asked questions. We're also going to start building here the schedule, what we're going to be doing, speakers, awards. Everything will be here on crowncouncil.com, and then just click annual event. There's about 700 people registered for the event, so we have room for roughly 200 more to join us. First come, first serve, especially for our charitable concert, which will be Thursday night at the annual event. We're going to be in the historic Ryman Theater, which always sells out and is an incredible charitable giving night where ticket sales are donated to Smiles for Life. So looking forward to that night. Okay, I did an interview with Dr. David Rice. Dr. David Rice, I'll let the introduction talk about this for a minute, but a really awesome charter Crown Council member from back almost at the very beginning of our of how we created Crown Council. I'll explain that here at the beginning. This is part of an interview series we did. I'm going to play about 20 minutes of this interview and leave about 20 minutes unplayed that you can go and watch or listen to and be a part of. So let me share my screen here. This is our interview with Dr. David Rice. Enjoy. All right. Hey, everybody. Stuart Anderson with just a short introduction before we hear from Dr. David Rice. So grateful for Dr. Rice and his constant example to me, Crown Council membership, and to all young dentists who are out there are part of his Ignite DDS program. Just super grateful for this man and his work, his leadership, and all the things that he teaches on this podcast. You'll see, even though it's brief, you can tell that he has spent a considerable amount of time sharing and mentoring those in the dental profession. So grateful for David and thankful for this time we've spent together. This is part of our leadership series for young docs, although obviously anybody can listen, but specifically some great advice on how to choose mentors from Dr. Rice and what groups to align with that can help you in your up and coming profession. So thanks for tuning in. Grateful for all those who have been part of our leadership series. The library now is, this is our second season, and we're grateful for all those that have tuned in and participated as part of the program. So enjoy this episode with Dr. David Rice, and thanks for tuning in. All right, everybody, welcome to the Mentor of the Month podcast. Stuart Anderson here, joined by Dr. David Rice. David, how are you?
I'm great, Stuart. How are you?
I'm very good. It is great to connect with you. I didn't want to share this before we got on. I have a small prop. I want you to know this is wacky. I actually think about you every day. This is a picture that hangs in my father's office of you, Garth Brooks, and Steve Anderson at the Mount Sinai Hospital. 2006 is what the picture says. I assume this is just when the zone at Mount Sinai opened and you guys were there for the opening.
That was it. It was an amazing day for sure.
How
it was
cool
a
is
great
that?
day. Yeah.
Anyway, it's funny. I mean, we haven't connected in a long time, but I wanted you to know that I think that's a picture that hangs in his office. So
you're stuck with me.
I am, which is good, which is a good thing. So, hey, if this is the first time you're tuning in to these, our series 2 episodes of our mentor podcast for young doctors, we are working through interviewing and talking to some of the best in the business about what to do and how to transition into a career from dental school. So that's kind of the theme. We're talking to practice owners, people that have built practices from scratch, those that have joined DSOs or practices with their parents, or I don't even know. There's probably hundreds of different scenarios here. So I know David through Ignite DDS. David, I met your program through Darren Liu, who is like one of our biggest cheerleaders at the Young Dentist program. And I know that you guys have had an incredible experience together, you and Darren. He speaks very highly of Ignite DDS and all that you do there. You are spending a lot of time working with young docs, building the nation's largest new dentist and student community, where you travel the world speaking, writing, and connecting today's top young dentists with tomorrow's most successful dental practices. So David is much more than just a general dentist. He has really expanded his career and expanded dentistry to helping young docs and connecting them with mentors and the right paths to take to find success. So really grateful you'd be with us, David. You scolded me for calling you Dr. Rice, so I'll just continue to call you. Okay.
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much. Yeah. Well, listen, and I learned all these lessons from your family, for God's sakes. This like life is funny how it works, right? Yeah.
David, could you talk a little bit about just where you work, what you do, and a little history about your, how did dentistry present itself to you, and how did you become a dentist?
Sure. So, gosh, I'm an enigma of a dentist for those of you who don't know me. I live in Florida, although I travel back to New York to practice every other month to see patients. And the bulk of my time, as Stuart mentioned, like I'm working with you if you're a young dentist or you're students. So we host in-person events. We do a lot of virtual stuff. And, our goal really is just help young people build self-determined futures, because there's just so many people chirping in your ear telling you what you cannot accomplish, and then how you have to accomplish anything in life. I just feel like my role is to help everybody objectively understand every single pathway there is, and then, provide a playbook for how to get there, and then full circle, like connect them with tremendous people in dentistry. So I met Darren, you brought up Darren earlier, at an ASDA event in Breckenridge, Colorado, and we stayed up literally all night talking. And it was, 5 a.m. I'm like, Darren, good Christmas. On the East Coast, it's like 8 a.m. here. I'm dying. And I just think dentistry is such an amazing profession that our part of our mission is really just help people live whatever their vision and best life is. That's it. And for me, I didn't necessarily have that before I went to dental school, so it became really important to me. I was one of those kids who I was either going to go to med school or dental school, so I did all these externships, and in reality, like, I think I just kind of landed in dentistry. I did my externships in medicine, a lot of which were pretty serious, like specialty care things. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's not for me. I don't want life and death to be in my hands every day. And that was like my view of what medicine had to be. And in dentistry, I came across some like super dentists early on, including my own. And I thought, whoa, that looks way better to me. I can help people, but I'm not living on the edge every moment. So I stumbled into dental school. I very thankfully fell in love with it pretty early on, and I just keep falling in love with it over and over again every year.
That's awesome. And could you talk about just maybe where you went to dental school and what you did right out of school when you got started?
Sure. So I went to SUNY Buffalo, which, if you've not been to Buffalo, is a special place to hang out for like July through maybe September. And I did a GPR after that in a hospital called Allegheny General in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm a huge fan of postgraduate programs, if as a young doc you can afford it, because I know that student debt thing is a thing, and there are many students coming out with families, so maybe that's a little harder. But that was my path. I did 2.5, I'm going to say, different associateships. The first one, epic fail. So learned all about who I didn't want to be when I grew up.
Okay, we got to hear about this. Let's expand
Yeah,
on that one.
listen, I'll tell you the stories. And
Okay,
then
let's do it.
and then the next one was pretty good, but it was just bad timing. And I think, we can all relate to that, where we meet somebody in our life, maybe in our personal life, who's like just great person, just wasn't the right time for you or maybe for them. And then that half one was the practice I knew I was going to buy walking in as an associate. We just had kind of a 7-month runway between my associateship and my and ownership, and then we just never looked back.
Nice. What maybe some advice from that first practice then? What happened and what mistakes that you made that you're willing to share that others might not make?
How much time do we have?
Let's do it.
I will tell you, that first associateship lasted all of 3 weeks. So biggest mistake, I didn't vet the practice hard enough. I walked in with the assumption that because this person was a part-time faculty member where I had gone to school, that I had this, like, I was enamored. I'm like, oh my God, they picked me. Yay, look at me. Look at this dental school stuff wasn't as bad as it turned out, as I thought it was going to be. And so I picked up and moved everything back from Pittsburgh back to Buffalo, New York, all because of this practice. And 3 weeks later, when I learned about all like the fraud that was happening in the practice, I knew, man, I didn't want to be a part of that. I knew dentistry was also a small community. And even if I wasn't a part of that, but I was present, I was going to be guilty by association. So I, said, hey, thanks so much for the opportunity, but it's time for me to move on. And so I think biggest mistake is I didn't do enough homework. I felt like lucky to get this great position, but as a young dentist, you worked really hard to get where you are. You deserve to be where you are. So always remember that, and ask around. Most of us know each other.
Yeah. And then when you left that practice, you moved into another associateship. Did you do it different? Did you do a little more vetting? Did you spend a little more time? I mean, if a doctor now is doing that, can you talk about that process maybe?
Sure.
How it can work best for them? Okay.
Absolutely. So yes, I did more homework. Part of it was simple things you can do when you walk in and meet somebody. Just walk around the practice, meet everybody on the team. Like you're gonna immediately feel either they're really happy to be here, or boy, this place is a grind
Mhm.
and they're barely keeping their head above water. Like nobody can fake it for more than 30 seconds. So just have like real conversations with everybody who's there, and feel the vibe of the practice. Walk into where cases maybe come back from a lab, pick up a couple bins, look at preps. Odds are, if their crown preps are pretty good and maybe veneer preps are pretty good or implant cases look pretty good, they probably do everything at a decent level, right? If they take pride in it. So just maybe be a quiet observer. And then of course in today's world, which in my Stonehenge days I didn't have this advantage, but we can Google everybody, for goodness sake. So it's really easy for us to figure out who people are, who they're connected to,
Mm.
learn what kind of practice style they have. And if it matches yours, they're a candidate. And if it doesn't match theirs, even if you really think you need to take this job, it's probably not worth jumping into because you're just going to be disappointed.
I love that. I actually was watching. Don't judge me for this. I was watching John Wick 4. All your listeners out there. And there was a silly phrase in there where one of the characters says, "How you do anything is how." Wow, some philosophy here from an action movie, and I think that fits in. Like, my grandma used to always talk about that. Like, hey, look at his shoes if they're shined, or that's a huge tell. Like, I love that you can't fake it for more than 30 seconds. That is a real thing. I mean,
I think so too. And I also think, people who can walk the talk, they have a different kind of quiet confidence to them. They don't need to tell you how successful they are. They don't need all the glitz and the glam. It's not that they may not have a beautiful practice and take pride in that. I'm very thankful for our practice, and it is, amazing when you walk in the door, but you would immediately get the sense walking in our practice, like that's not what it's about. It's about a group of people who feel like, um, more important than the dentistry, which is very important to us, but more important to that is we want to accomplish something together and look back 20, 30 years in the future and say, wow, look at how well we did for so many people in our community.
love that. That's awesome. David, you have an interesting perspective on young dentists. Can you talk about what challenges you are seeing, some of the biggest challenges that they are faced with coming out of dental school, and what advice you are giving to Ignite DDS and to those young docs that are surrounding you, challenges that they're faced with and messages that they're getting that you don't quite believe in or that they should be aware of?
Sure. So first is, I know you either have overwhelming debt and it is a true thing, or you believe you do. It just depends on the school you go to. But I'm headed out to USC this week, and they're $145,000 a year. That's just to go to school, plus your supplies, plus your living expenses, plus, and then add in any debt you have from undergrad. So it's not uncommon for young people to walk out of dental school today with $500,000 to $800,000 of debt. So that is a problem we have in our industry. And I understand when you walk across that stage, it's daunting.
Mm.
The other big problem I see are all the people who are leveraging that story against you. And they're telling you, because of that debt, your only opportunity is to come to work for me. And you can fill in the blank of who that for me is, and maybe opportunities that get, quote, presented to you in any one of those scenarios. But the reality is, and Stuart, better than anyone, like, life's a mindset thing. So everything is possible for you. The coolest thing in the whole world is once you leave dental school and you go practice for 2 years, or you go to a postgrad program and practice for a year, any of the greatest lenders in dentistry, they don't care how much debt you have. So long as you're a reasonable spender, you show that you've taken some pretty good education and you've gained a little bit of speed, they'll give you all the money you want to go build your dream your way. And sometimes that might mean buying into a practice. Sometimes it's going to mean buying your own. And sometimes it'll mean building one from scratch, and all of it works. It really is just about having a vision for yourself and your life and what you want and what's that look like. And one of those options will be better for you based on that vision.
Great advice. I love that. And when you present that to young doctors, what do they usually, what are the barriers there to believing you to say, are they like, does the light click, or is there still some resistance to, man, I don't even know where to start when I want to build my own thing. What
Yeah,
advice
that
do you give there? Yeah.
super question. So it does click. So it absolutely clicks. And people, I think, are like, oh my gosh, I can, which is wonderful. I feel like the resistance comes from it's so overwhelming to conceptualize all the pieces. So who are the people I'm going to need, whether it's lenders, insurance carriers, builders, developers, attorneys, CPAs, the mentor piece, which is, far and away the most important thing you need to get right as a, third, fourth year student and new dentist for sure. But just the who's are so overwhelming, yet alone, well, where am I going to do this? How do I find
That guy shaped me. This experience shaped me. What kind of things can you pinpoint that really made you who you are?
So, before I finished dental school, I didn't really have a lot of great dental mentors, but I had a really great friend of mine's dad who owned his own company, and I shadowed him for some time, and I watched how he treated his team,
Hmm.
and it was phenomenal. And can I tell like a 30-second story?
Yeah, of course.
All right, awesome. So this guy owned a woman's headwear company,
Okay.
hats, scarves, like all the stuff and all the stuff. And he did faux fur before faux fur was in vogue because he just believed in it. So that was kind of cool. Doesn't matter what your belief is, but whatever it is you believe, like, man, just dig deep. So he did. And I was there literally, it was like the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. It was my third year of undergrad. And, he did the whole lunch, which was cool. And everybody had a turkey and you know, a pie that he gave them to bring home to the family. That was really cool. But then after lunch, I watched this woman walking out of his private office, and Stuart, tears are just rushing down her face. I'm like, oh my God, I thought he was a really good guy. I think he just fired that person. This is crazy. And his secretary, who's the sweetest little old lady, her name was Adele. She's like, do you know what Dennis did in there? I'm like, I think he fired her. She's like, no, he just wrote a tuition check for her daughter's next semester.
Oh.
Boom. And then what she said after that, like just struck a chord. It still strikes a chord with me. He does that all the time based on what people really need in the moment, and he'll never breathe a word of it. And it was only because probably 20 years later, I had written an article and I wrote about him that he found out through a friend of a friend of a friend. And he called me up. He's like, how did you even know? So he, his name is Dennis Tellini. He was instrumental for me. Once I got through dental school, like your dad and your uncle were huge. I mean, I bought when I bought my practice, I'm dating myself, right? I open up a cabinet, there's a VHS tape and it was your uncle and Walter Haley. And I thought, whoa, these two guys are totally different than anything I've seen, heard, read. And I took a chance, brand new practice owner, no money, and booked tickets to Chicago for our entire team. And that was the start of our journey, learning from your family. So, your dad, Greg, and your uncle Steve were like huge influences. David Hornbrook, who you guys do a ton of work with, huge influence for me. Pete Dawson, like all those people, they made me know that I could build whatever I wanted to build. And they showed me a lot of the how-to along the way, but a lot of it was like, you just saw them living that way. And it became like, why can't I do that too?
So cool. Well,
Yeah.
David, when you're looking at giving advice to young docs, what do you share with them about choosing mentors? Like, where do they go to find them? What can they look out for when you're like, we have some red flags here? Any advice there?
So much advice.
I want it all. Let's do it.
So much advice. I'm going to start with the good stuff, but don't let
Okay.
me forget the bad stuff because I
Okay.
think both sides are important. So, I believe there are three sort of mentor archetypes that we all need, and whether one person encompasses all three or you need 9 people to get to the three, it doesn't matter. But we all need a cheerleader, and I think that's the mentor we sort of gravitate towards, right? That person who helps us wake up and be our best when we don't feel like it. Easy one. I think most people have that one, but we got to have them. The next one is, and this is a Brendan Burchard-ism, we need a top 2%er. So when I met your dad and I met your uncle and I met David Hornbrook and Pete Dawson, it was readily apparent to me that they had knowledge beyond almost everybody. They had skill beyond almost everybody, and they had integrity beyond almost everybody.
That's
So
cool.
I knew them to be top 2%ers. Then the third archetype, I would say this is the hard one for most of us, is you need a contrarian. You've not negative people, but you've got to have people in your life who see the world like 180 degrees differently than you see it. And because they see your blind spots. So
Yeah.
not someone who poo-poos the ideas, but somebody just says like, hey, Stuart, did you ever look at it this way? And I will tell you, when I started Ignite, you know, the first person I called was
Ew.
your Uncle Steve. I'm like, if I fly to Fort Worth, Texas, can you find a half day and tell me if I'm crazy? I have an idea. And like the greatest of great people, he said, come to Fort Worth, Texas, and I'll give you a whole day or however long you want. And I did that, and we did just that. And it was the greatest thing in the whole world because he had, you know, the uncanny ability to look at all the things that I thought were amazing and say, did you ever think about what if this happens, then what will you do? And that was so helpful for me because I was just, you know, green is green and going to sprint. So I think those are the things we have to have in mentors. Can I tell you the place not to go?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Don't go to Facebook groups for the love of God. And I have a Facebook group, but I will
No.
tell you, like, that's not a 30,000-foot view. That's like 130,000-foot view.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of it, you know, not to burst anyone's bubble, but most Facebook groups don't bring real information. They bring a lot of affirmation. They'll tell you the same 3 things that are wrong with the world over and over and over again. So you feel so much pain that you listen to whatever stupidity they're going to share. But that's all that it is, gang. So get yourself out of Facebook and into like real rooms and meet real people, and then do exactly what you hope your patients do. Get testimonials, ask for referrals, see who knows people, ask all the questions, and then study them. And when your gut says, maybe no, trust your gut. And when your gut says, wow, this person's different, learn more.
That is so good. Those were good. We should do it. We got like an hour on those 3. David, did you maybe share that on your Instagram feed, those 3 things? I think I've seen a reel of you presenting that before.
I'm sure I have. You know, so in the book I wrote, I literally devoted an entire chapter to just those 3 pieces of the mentorship puzzle.
I love that. And did you come up with that? Did you come up with that yourself, or is that something that you kind of gathered from other authors, or how'd you?
I mean, I would say I shaped it myself, but in reality, we could go back 1,000 years, and philosophically, like, not a lot's different. So I'm going to say it's, what is that quote like? If I'm anywhere, it's because I'm standing on the shoulder of giants. So you learn all these great things over the years. And then I kind of took those things and said, you know, how did it really impact me? And it was those 3 that really kind of stood out more than anything.
All right. Very cool. There's about 15 minutes more from Dr. David Rice. You can find that in our Mentor of the Month program, in the series in the Premium Member Hub. Very easy to watch the rest of it. Grateful for Dr. Rice and thankful for not only his mentorship, but friendship and example inside the Crown Council community. So very good. All right, we'll stop there. It's 11:40. We'll 20 minutes. We'll stop a little early, but we'll be back next week. Grateful for everybody who tuned in, whether recorded or live. We'll be back next week with another program, some more interviews, specifically focusing on our Smiles for Life campaign, 2026, our whitening campaign, which is starting here as boxes have been shipped, Hopefully you're ordering your whitening materials. T-shirts have been shipped. There's going to be one more T-shirt order for Smiles for Life coming up. So we'll focus on that next week. Some tips and tricks, things that people are doing inside their practices as they plan and set goals for Smiles for Life Whitening 2026. But thanks for joining us today. Grateful to be with you, and we'll see you next week.